must keep you from putting our kids in the ground, so we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. We got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've gotta stand our ground, and no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear. If these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense, and if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. No, we won't back down. Back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've gotta stand our ground, so we won't back down. No, we won't back down. Virginians, you won't fight this fight alone.
Technical difficulties always start. Going to give everybody the silent treatment.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I was scrolling through the comments. Sorry, wasn't paying attention. Welcome to our monthly live stream. I have Philip Van Cleve and Jill McDaniel here with me, and we have Christy Horton, but she's having a little bit of green screen trouble here.
She's pretending to be a Martian.
We can hear her, but she'll keep working on it. Anyway, I know you guys are as worried about the upcoming legislative session as we are. Oh, we almost had you, Christy. But I will let Philip take it away with what is coming, what's been filed, and what we're expecting and what we're planning on doing about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting year, that's for sure. Some of the stronger bills have not hit yet, and we know that's intentional because they don't want to repeat 2020. What happened in 2020 was that our beloved Governor Northam, basically, from their point of view, shot his mouth off and said, well, you know, we might confiscate AR-15s. We might just make them illegal for new ones. We haven't decided. And that set off a firestorm. The thought that the guns that we already have, on top of everything else, could be made illegal and possibly confiscated. So that created a huge uproar, brought 50,000 or more people to lobby day and so forth. So they didn't want that embarrassment again of having that many people saying that their agenda sucks. So this time, and since then, they've tried to be more careful. So now, if you notice, they're real low key, not talking about gun control. They're talking about one thing or another, but gun control is not mentioned. Don't let that fool you. That's intentional. They're going to be coming out with the really bad stuff like the permit to purchase, which I'll talk about here shortly. Just they said during the first week of the session. Well, the session starts on Wednesday, the 14th, and then on the 19th, just 5 days later, not and that includes the weekend. That's when lobby day is. So they're hoping to get those bills in to where people. It's too late for them to react, and it's too late for us to tell people, hey, look, these really bad bills have hit. We need to get the lobby day. So this is intentional. They don't want your voice to be heard, and that's what this is all about. However, some bills have already been pre-filed, and I know there's more to come on the pre-file side because we've had quite a few bills put in on our behalf that haven't shown up yet in the system. But we know that from a meeting that they had with legislators, the gun control crowd, we know that they're intentionally holding back on some of the bills. So what have we got going on so far? And with, like I say, with some maybe worse stuff coming. Number one, they want to basically really tinker with reciprocity. So now keep in mind, we've had no problems with reciprocity. We haven't had people from, hey, look, somebody, a new person arrived. Oh, she's back to green screen. Anyhow, she's teasing us.
Right.
So,
Christy, if I take your background out, you're there. So,
okay,
are you good
cool.
with that?
There she is. All right.
Okay.
So they want to mess with reciprocity, which means that number one, some people won't be able to carry in Virginia on their state permits. And that means that many states will say, well, since you're not honoring us, we're not going to honor your Virginia permits anymore. So you see where that's going. That's going to greatly restrict places where you can carry. So that bill would be hurting not only our neighbors wanting to come visit, but it hurts us as Virginians when we want to travel. What they want to do.
That bill says that if you live in Virginia, if you're a Virginia resident and you don't have a Virginia permit, but you have, say, a Florida or a Utah or some other permit that's recognized by Virginia, it's no good in Virginia for you if you're a Virginia resident. It's good
Yeah, you
for
have to have
somebody
a Virginia
from another
permit.
state, but not for you.
Yeah, and what they're doing that's particularly evil is they're saying, well, it's up to the attorney general in conjunction with the state police to figure out if laws in other states are close enough to ours to give them reciprocity. If the laws aren't close enough, then we aren't going to grant them reciprocity. Well, that is a very subjective thing. I mean, it's easy, and the attorney general basically he may go into a reciprocity agreement. May. Well, with this incoming attorney general, he's not going to do that. He's not going to agree to any of these states as being close enough to what Virginia has. We already know that based on his reaction to everything else. So this is a real problem for any of you that travel, and it's also a discouragement for other states. I don't like going to states where I can't carry and they don't honor my permit. The only option somebody would have would be to get a Virginia permit, a non-resident. That costs $100, and there's no limit on how long you can wait. Now, I think the state police are getting them done in just a few weeks now, but there was a time when people were waiting almost a year for their non-resident permit. The government should never be given an option to say, well, just whenever you get to it, go ahead and issue this. That's not good. You need to have a drop dead date. So, you got 45 days. If you can't do it in 45 days, you got to issue a temporary permit or issue the permit while you continue your investigation. So that's going to hurt a lot of people. And that, by the way, that whole concept of doing that is why we honor all states now. Because years ago, Attorney General Herring tried to pull something similar before we had the law updated, and he was going to make it really stringent to get reciprocity. And that created such a huge uproar that Northam ended up, or no, it was McAuliffe ended up signing the bill that we got put in that basically says we honor all permits. So the uproar, that was an uproar. That's what an uproar can do. And a lot of that uproar, I think, was probably Democrats contacting their Democrat legislators saying, "You telling me I can't carry in West Virginia anymore or in North Carolina or whatever? You're telling me that?" I think they heard enough of that they panicked, and the governor signed that bill. And boy, Herring you could tell he was furious. He didn't attend the signing ceremony and so forth. Well, Northam drove the bus over him 2 or 3 times when he signed that. So that's one bill that's out there now that we've got to kill. The next bill is an assault weapon ban. All right. So I put the assault weapon in quotes. We all know that's a made up term, but that's the language that's actually even in the law in Virginia. So here they basically are saying, well, we're going to grandfather guns and magazines. They also, that same bill bans high capacity. Well, they're calling high capacity. We call standard capacity. Anything greater than 10 rounds is then part of this bill that's prohibited. um, they're grandfathering everything made up to to July 1 of this year. Anything made after that, you can't buy the magazine, you can't import it, you can't do anything. Same thing with any kind of a gun they classify as a quote unquote assault weapon. And the assault weapon is merely, is it a semi-automatic firearm? Does it take an external magazine? And three, does it have one of like 7 or 8 different features? Any one? A protruding pistol grip, a barrel shroud, a grenade launcher. Like, oh yeah, we all are using grenade launchers. And if it has a bayonet lug, and that's because we have so many drive-by bayonettings and people robbing banks with bayonets. So they've got all this still collapsible stock. If the stock can change size at all, that makes it this quote unquote assault weapon. So they're grandfathering it. Now that's convenient that they're grandfathering it, but that's not good. Um, New guns are going to come out at some point that you're going to want, and it's going to be too bad. Other states can have them, but not us. Besides, the Second Amendment absolutely guarantees our right to have exactly those kinds of firearms as an unorganized militia. So, and to keep in mind also, stroke of a pen next year or even in a committee, they could make a little change and presto changeo. What you've got now becomes illegal to, maybe you could possess it, but you can't carry it. And you can only take it to or from a gun range or something. That's how some states have done that. So yeah, you can keep it, but you got to register it. You got only to and from a gun range, to and from a gun dealer, or a gunsmith. That's about it. So they're not doing that here, but I'm telling you, stroke of a pen, they could do that. So we have to take that very, very seriously. The bill that we've been warning about that we know is coming is the permit to purchase. They're waiting until the first week. Well, that'll be next week sometime, either right around Lobby Day, maybe even the day after Lobby Day. Could be on Lobby Day that they introduce it, or maybe just right before, the Friday or whatever before. That bill is particularly evil. If you are in an emergency situation, you need a gun now. You just found out that your ex-spouse wants to kill you, and knowing the ex-spouse, you kind of go, "Yep, this is dead serious. More than happy to kill me." Now you want to get a gun. Well, you better plan on at least 2 months to get that gun and hundreds of dollars, not including the gun. You're going to, number one, have to find a class to take for the training that's got to be state approved, taught by a state approved instructor, and it includes live fire. You might shrug at the live fire, but oh no, I wouldn't shrug at that, and I'll tell you why. Ranges where you could do the live fire don't allow general instructors to come in there and teach classes. They only allow their instructors to teach a class and use the range. And the significance of that is, think of how few instructors we would then have. I know I don't have any arrangements with ranges, so I couldn't teach the class, even though I've been teaching Virginia concealed carry classes for years and years and years. Unless I got some kind of arrangement with some range somewhere, I couldn't teach the class. And I think you're going to have a very hard time getting one. So you have to get in line to schedule a class. When you finally take the class with live fire, then you also need to get fingerprinted. So that means for a lot of people taking off work in the middle of the week, finding out what hours they do fingerprinting, because those hours can be very short and only on certain days. You've got to go down and get fingerprinted. Then the packet gets turned over to the state police, and they have 45 days to process your packet. So now we're sitting close to 2 months by the time this whole thing has started rolling, maybe more already. And then you finally get approval after you pay probably another $50 for that. So if you're a poor person, forget it, because now you probably pay $200 to $300 for a class, because they're probably going to be expensive, including the live fire. And I'm sure they'll make these classes as difficult as possible. And you've now had to pay $50 for the application to get your permit to purchase. Fingerprinting isn't free. You'll have had to pay $5 or $10 to be fingerprinted. Then when you buy your gun, you're still going to go through another background check. So as far as background checks, that original background check doesn't mean baloney. They're going to do it again every time you buy a gun. And they want to put a 5-day delay in there. So now you finally get your gun. You got to wait 5 more days. So now you're approaching 2.5 months since this emergency started, and you still don't have your gun. So that's going to get a lot of people killed. I mean, that's just the way that's going to work. And it's going to wake up a lot of people. A lot of hunters who've been thinking they're immune from all this stuff are going to find that when they go to buy a new shotgun or a new rifle, are going to be shocked when they learn they may well miss the hunting season, because by the time they get their new shotgun, season may well be over. So this is a serious threat, and the 5-day wait will destroy gun shows. If you like gun shows, you like to go there and buy guns and all that stuff, it's not going to work very well, because when you buy the gun at the gun show, you have to wait 5 days. Well, the gun show's over. All the dealers have gone back home. Now you either have to drive where the dealers' offices are or just give up the whole concept. And again, this isn't an accidental byproduct. We know the intent of all of this is civilian disarmament. So they don't care how much this inconveniences us, and they really don't care who gets killed because they couldn't get a firearm. But that bill really should have your attention because the implications are quite serious. And while you're thinking, well, I got lots of guns now, you never know. You could have one of your guns could go kaput and you need to replace it. Well, guess what? Now you got 2 months or 2.5 months and a bunch of expense before you can get around to being able to buy another gun unless you've got this permit. The permit, I think it looks like it's going to last 5 years. But at the end of 5 years, I believe you're probably going to have to get training and fingerprinted again and wait again. So
just like the Floyd, isn't it, in Illinois?
Yeah, a Floyd card, very similar to that. So that's rough.
And I fully expect them to pass legislation that will shut down a lot of ranges as public nuisances and block new ranges from opening as well. Think about how hard it is to get a range open. We just got an email today about a range that's trying to open, and the neighborhood doesn't want the noise there. Well, in the country, and this is in Goochland, I think, if I remember correctly, but in the country, you hear gunfire all around pretty much all the time, whether it's hunting or people target practicing in their yards or whatever. I don't even live close to a range, and I hear gunfire all around me.
Absolutely.
It's sound of freedom.
And speaking of gunfire, now there's a bill that wants to tax suppressors $500, which if you're buying a $300 suppressor for a 22, you're now paying 160% tax on that suppressor. And they're taxing something that's very useful. Number one, suppressors mean, as Pat was alluding there, with all the noise that people hear all the time, well, this means this is good for neighbors. You're going to target practice. You can be very polite towards your neighbors by keeping the noise down. They can still hear the shots. This is where the gun control crowd is either ignorant or they're purposely pretending to be ignorant, that thinking that, a suppressor just makes the gun so silent you could hear a pin drop when you fire the gun. No. And neighbors are still going to hear noise, but it's going to be a lot less. And it also protects the hearing of the shooter. It
Yes.
protects hearing of people standing by. And for hunters, it protects their hearing. For them, that's very convenient. They like to not have anything on their ears so they can hear what's going on around them, like maybe a deer stepping on some leaves or whatever. So they want their hearing open. But when the time comes to fire a shot, they don't have forever to get earmuffs on and everything else. You put a suppressor on your gun,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you fire, and it protects your hearing and keeps the noise down. In Europe, it's considered, you pretty much are required to get suppressors on hunting guns. It's considered rude. It's like your neighbors not having mufflers on their cars. That's the same concept, but in this case, this would be like them telling you, well, we want to charge you a sin tax on mufflers for your car. That's stupid. What about a tax for seatbelts too? While we're at it. So again, stupidity. Well, that's logic being applied to gun control, and it doesn't fit. But they want to do that, so that's a problem. Now finally we're in a position where suppressors, which are still a pain to get, are easier to get, and the feds aren't charging a tax. Now they want to come along and charge 2.5 times what that tax was.
By
So
the way, Helmer's bill, the quote unquote assault weapons bill, specifically names any semi-automatic firearm that will accept a suppressor. So
that's an assault weapon.
Yeah.
right.
So if you don't have if you have a gun now, yeah, you can add a suppressor to it. You're okay. But it might be you don't have an AR-15. Well, once July 1 rolls around, if you buy you can't buy a new AR, and if you buy another type of gun that's allowed and you put a suppressor on it, you're breaking the law. This is all it's all evil.
It really is. It's funny to me watching all of this because it is like a rerun from 2020. It's just it.
Well, there's some new. They hadn't thought of the $500 penalty.
I find that Pat said, living in Goochland, I'm down here in the county, right here in Pennsylvania County in Danville. That's how I know when my neighbors are home. It's like you can always tell which one has the suppressor, which one's doing the muzzle loader, which one's doing the shotguns and and their rifles. I mean, that's just how I know who's at home. I mean, it's so weird to me to watch this happen, and it's just
it's frustrating.
They nitpick these little accessories and everything like that. People don't understand that it's etching away at the entire gun.
It's a death by 1,000 cuts, and they're
Exactly.
cutting at every little thing. For example, here's a few more bills that are in now. One wants to make it so if you make any accessory for a firearm, if you make firearms, sell firearm accessories, or anything like that, make firearm accessories, and somehow a criminal has one of your accessories or accessory you sold on a gun he uses in a crime, you can be civilly sued because you didn't take care to make sure that criminal didn't get the gun. Again, this is all baloney, for lack of a better word, but it discourages the whole industry. It's like, wow, boy, if I start selling holsters and that's used in a crime, man, I could lose my business. I could, and so forth and so on. It's truly evil. These people are really bad. We cannot and will not just stand by and let them roll over us with this stuff.
They're so moderate.
Yeah, well, we'll see how moderate our governor is, by the way. We'll see. She ran as a moderate. Well, okay. We have if you leave your handgun visible in a vehicle, like let's just say you're in a hurry to get out of the car, your handgun is visible somewhere, and you can be fined $500 and your vehicle can be towed away. So you come out and your gun's gone. Well, you might say, but guess who's got your gun? The tow truck company. How much do you trust the tow truck company with your firearm? And maybe some of the people that might work for a tow truck company. I don't know how much their background checked, but and again, so they don't really think about this stuff very much.
How secure are impound lots, by the way?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and they're driving off. Yeah. I know when I had an accident, a young lady pulled out in front of me and I T-boned her. The tow truck was there ready to take my car away, and I wouldn't let them because the trunk was jammed. And I said, there are firearms in there, and you are not taking this car away till I get those firearms out. You're not going to drive off with them. So we got it. We finally got it popped open and got the guns out. The Chesterfield police were standing there grinning, watching, trying to see what I had in my trunk.
I was about to say, did they call another tow truck to take your guns off
No,
for
the
you?
guy waited, and I got those guns out of there, and they were on their
Okay.
way with no guns in the car.
Yeah, we're gonna
Um,
need another record.
yeah, and by the way, backing up, just a thought here too, and looking back on that quote unquote assault weapon ban. So they're setting a date of saying July, any gun made after July 1 of 2026. Well, I do some appraisals on firearms. And one thing I know is you can't tell by the serial number, except for maybe one or two brands, really one, when the gun was made. Most of them, the serial number is encoded or it's just a number. It's like the 450th gun they made, this batch or this year, whatever. There's no way for a police officer to look at a serial number on a gun and say, oh, this gun was made in June of 2025. No, they don't have that. I have all kinds of references I have to go through to find those dates, and sometimes those dates don't exist. Now, all guns now have to have a serial number, but there's no standard to that serial number. It's not like a VIN on a car where you can look at it and tell the make, model, and other key things about that, the weight of the vehicle and so forth, that are all encoded in this VIN. Firearms are nothing like that. It's just a number, which is may not even be able to tell you what year it was made, much less anything in more detail. So again, I kind of look at this and go, well, that's interesting. So a cop on the side of the road looks at this AR and he's looking at it thinking, well, I wonder if this was made after July 1 of 2026. Well, good luck with that. He's not going to be able to know. It's just not, it's not going to work. There's so many firearms out there, so many manufacturers, and they all have their own serialization. And again, it can simply be a number and no other significance tied to it. So,
Clown show.
so that's to me, that's a paper tiger. How is the government going to prove when your gun was made on the side of the road? They could confiscate it and then try to get a hold of the manufacturer and try to work out when it was made and all that. But that's a
And
whole different creature than merely looking at a gun real quick and saying, oh, this one is an assault weapon. This is illegal.
I wonder
Uh,
about the administrative end for that, though. I mean, just thinking about, okay, we have this gun, we got to look up all the information. Now you have to pay someone to take on that useless job. I mean,
it,
to go in and do when you already have, like you said, you do appraisals and stuff like that when you already have people in. I don't know. It's just it's like this. It's like running. It's like a dog chasing its tail. I mean, it's just
yeah,
yeah,
but I guarantee the people that put these in don't know anything about guns.
no, they don't.
They truly don't. You could hand them an airsoft and they would swear it's a real gun. They have no idea. They wouldn't even know where to begin looking.
And if anybody noticed, Dan Helmer, who pushed a lot of these bills, especially I see, a lot of people talking about HB 217. The first thing he said out of his mouth was, as someone who used to be in the United States military, they always lead with that, and it's just.
And I'm
Granted, I love
sorry. I'm sorry, that I wish he hadn't served in the military if it meant that when he got
that
out, he would disrespect the Constitution and do everything the opposite
exactly.
of what he swore to protect.
My
And
husband
he,
fought in the exact same wars he did, and my husband's like, "What does that have to do with anything? What does that
well,
have to do with
he's
anything?"
disrespecting it. The
So,
military should be hiding from him saying that and going,
yeah,
oh, we're sorry. We don't know what happened to him.
we don't blame him.
Oh man. So, um, the let's see, another little goodie in here. They want schools to notify parents. This is Senator Pekarsky. Want schools to notify parents at the beginning of the school year about the fact that they have a responsibility about keeping their guns uh, secure from their children. However, hers leaves this wording completely up on, it can cover a variety of things and leaves this wording up to the school boards. So some school boards could put in absolute gun control stuff in
Yeah,
their notice. They can say, well, it's just better if you don't own a gun at all and blah blah blah. I can see it now. Fairfax County, you
oh
can
yeah.
count on total lies and misrepresentations and everything else coming out from them. So that's one that we'll oppose. if it was just telling the parents, look, here's the state law, that's fine. People should know the law.
Yep.
But you leave it open to them to use their own wording, these gun control people, and they're going to abuse it. They abuse everything else.
Mhm. They manipulate. I mean, it's
Hmm.
all based on manipulation. And a lot of these parents, I mean, a lot of these, they rely on really focusing or targeting parents that are up and coming, a lot of younger generations that they're getting right now. And it's been very hard for the academy for us to reach out to school boards and schools because of they're in, I mean, from the teachers that I've spoken with personally, they're like, we understand, we want that education to come in, but we cannot sign on for it because our hands are tied. Our hands are tied by the state and just all of the information because they're constantly being, uh, from what I understand from the teachers and the that want to speak to me off the record, so to speak, that they're like, the only thing that we can do is set up classes outside of the school arena right now. So, like they would have to do it. Cannot be school oriented whatsoever. So it's very tough for them, and they're scared, and they're scared because a lot of these parents that are bringing their kids to school, especially during time, you see all the headlines nowadays. They ask a lot of questions, and even in my classes, I'm constantly telling them, like those what you're seeing in the headlines is meant to rile you up, to give, to put you in a political discourse with yourself and your own decisions. But what you're also seeing is a rarity. Um, but at the same time, they're like, well, what do we do? Can't we get this education into our school systems? And I'm thinking now, I'm like, well, considering who funds Spanberger, guess who's going to get that slot? So, and
Yeah.
of course, if nobody knows, every town and Moms Demand Action with their training and their Be Smart and Train Smart programs, it is literally a ripoff of the NRA and the NSSF. I mean,
But with a
they
negative
took,
twist.
yep, they took it and they made it political. So it's it's nuts. So
And there's also a bill to ban firearms in hospitals if they have any kind of mental health thing or emergency rooms or anything like that, which covers most of that stuff. Or even a knife with a blade over 3.5 inches. So again, we go to that. Again, one more gun-free zone. That's ultimately the goal of these is to make it so, like New York tried, that you can't carry anywhere because everything's a gun-free zone. But they allowed the hospital to be able to bless people to be able to carry. And what this is some doctors were complaining that they work in the ER and they don't want to be disarmed because some really dangerous people come in there
mhm,
and they have shootings and stabbings in the ER. Well, to those doctors, I would say don't fall for this because you're going to have to go to your administration in the hospital and get permission. What do you think the odds of that are going to be? Yeah, there's an option there, but good luck with it. We just need to stop this bill because there's no point in endangering people's lives with this stuff. These gun-free zones are dangerous, and we certainly don't need them in an area where these attacks are likely.
So another one for all of you people that like to make your own firearms as a hobby, will require that all firearms are serialized and all firearm kits are serialized and sold through an FFL.
lovely.
So
And
yeah,
the wording
and
is
that,
weird.
and there's no grandfather, so anything that you previously made would need to be serialized by an FFL qualified to do so.
And as I recall, Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't allow like an exemption for you to get to the dealer to get it serialized, do they? If it's an
Mm,
existing one? They had something about turning it over to the police. You could be protected while you're going from your house with an unserialized gun to the police for the destruction of that gun or to turn it over. Yes, but I think going to a dealer was not something in there.
yeah, I missed that part of it because the
Hmm.
wording is so convoluted.
It
I
is.
had to read it 3 or 4 times just to get the general gist of it and
Yeah.
make sure that I was understanding most of what I read. So yeah, it's a bad bill. like the rest of them. And I put a link up earlier to a web page that we have of the bad legislation that's either filed or is coming, we know is coming, or have seen in the previous couple of years, and we suspect is coming. Some of it we've actually heard that, yes, that we're filing this, but we're waiting until the first week of session. And Philip already touched on that. It's because they don't want people showing up at lobby day.
Yeah.
And frankly, I'm worried. We have 3 buses. This time in 2020, we had pushing 10 buses, I believe. And those 3 buses that we have this year are only about half full. So if you need to get a seat on the bus, I will put it up on the screen. But you can go to vcdl.org/lobbydaybus and get yourself a seat. We need all the people we can get at lobby day. That's one of the major steps in stopping some of this legislation. And for people that say that 2020 didn't work, go back and look at what the bills were before lobby day and look at what actually passed, and look at the fact that the assault firearm bill disappeared immediately after lobby day. It vanished.
Yeah, and some other bills disappeared as well. I was just flipping through some of the comments in here too, and we had one comment saying, "Well, I guess I'm going to have to move again. I'm running out of states to go to." But my problem, I hear that from time to time, and that's not the first time I've heard that. But the problem is, I'm sure glad our founding fathers didn't take that attitude. Well, let's not fight that British Army. Let's just retreat. Let's go live in Canada. Or no, they stood and fought. And running from this is ceding ground. You're saying, okay, you win. I'm out of here. Take the state. I don't want them to take the state. And if everybody flees and runs off to some other place, well, thanks a lot. That's not going to get the job done. You've just given the other side one more state, and they're going to keep coming. The more you do that, the more you encourage this stuff. You need to stand up and fight for this. Yeah, it's a pain. Well, I can tell you, beating England back in the 1700s was a pain and very dangerous. And if you lost, you were going to hang. So we're not in that situation. But, we need to stand together, stand strong, and push back on this stuff, not retreat.
Yeah. So Wrenchhead is asking about the bill on homemade firearms. Back then, there was a problem with the FFL serializing the guns, but the ATF now has come up with a procedure for privately made firearms. They call them PMFs. And there is a procedure for FFLs to serialize them, and if the FFL has the capability to engrave the serial number, then it has to receive the FFL's first 3 and last 5 digits of their license number, and then a unique serial number, and it has to go on the book with who it is that brought the firearm in and all of their personal information. And that goes into the FFL's record, which now, thanks Joe Biden, FFLs have to keep those records forever. They cannot destroy them after 20 years. And so when the FFL goes out of business or sells or whatever, those records go to the ATF, who is, of course, not supposed to digitize them, but thanks GOA, we know that they are doing exactly that into a searchable database. Mm-hmm. So it is a de facto gun registry.
Yep.
Yeah, the government breaking the law? I'm shocked, Pat. Are you serious?
Yep. And so federal law says that the privately made firearms do not have to be serialized unless they go to an FFL for some reason, as if they're traded in or in for repairs or something like that. So once they come into the possession of an FFL, then they have to be serialized according to the ATF. And that was another rulemaking under Joe Biden.
That's so redundant.
Mm-hmm.
That's just redundant.
So let's see. Rudy wants to know what's up with the sanctuary counties. Let Philip talk about that. And then Christy is here to talk to us about lobby day teams and so forth. So we do want to get her on before we run out of time.
Yeah, well, we've got a series of counties. It's not a huge number, probably about 15 that have either said, look, our last, last time we declared ourselves a Second Amendment sanctuary through resolution, that still applies. We've never repealed it. It's still there. It's still in force as far as we're concerned. We've got some of those. We've got others that stood up and said, yeah, we're going to reaffirm it. We're going to make it clear. We still strongly believe this. And so that's good. It's in motion. But because so many counties did it a while back, I think getting people out to get them to reaffirm is not something that's sweeping the same way the original. We had no counties or cities that had these resolutions. That was a very different environment, and that created that huge influx of people demanding that they have it. So a lot of them still have all of that, and it's still in place. We wanted them to reaffirm, but part of that is, members going to and this is what happened in those other cases, members going to board of supervisors or city councils and saying, would you please reaffirm because we're about to go into a storm, and we're going to, we as the citizens in your locality want to know that you stand with us, that
Yeah.
you are you are the lesser magistrate sort of formula, where if the government becomes tyrannical, it's up to the other lower forms of government, your local governments and so forth, to stand up and not let a tyrannical state or federal government take away your rights.
And, I have to wonder too, the lack of people showing up in these 2A sanctuary counties, is it related to the lack of people showing interest in lobby day?
Mm-hmm.
They just don't see the urgency yet. And we need to be forward looking and not looking at what has happened. Looking over our shoulder doesn't do us any good. If we wait till the bills are actually passed, then it's just like waiting till the election's
Mm-hmm.
over and saying, oh, pooh, things went south. So we really, as a group, need to be a lot more proactive than we
Yes.
have been in the past.
I
Complacency will get us every time, and that's where
I
we are coming from. Is
I,
4 years
I,
of
of misery. I
yeah.
equate it to a situation where a hurricane is coming and you're not watching the Weather Channel. So you don't know. You're out. It's a beautiful day, just gorgeous. But you're not looking. You're not watching other than what's right in front of you, not
Mm-hmm.
realizing that something is headed your way and you need to be prepared long before it gets to you. Those people that don't do that, and when they couldn't do it, when they didn't have things like weather services, a lot of people died when that hurricane came out of nowhere and suddenly in no time flat, the skies had changed from beautiful and sunny to devastating and dangerous.
Yep.
This is what's happening effectively here too with a lot of people. They're not, because they're not seeing the danger yet. They
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that
It's
it's
not here.
coming, and
Yeah.
they're really going to regret not being awake and realizing what was not being prepared for what's coming around the curve.
And yeah, I kind of equate it to a tidal wave, because what happens is the wave sucks up all the water and the beach recedes and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and you have no idea other than the water's going out, like the tide is going out, and then all of a sudden this 30-foot wall of water comes and obliterates everything in its path, and there's absolutely no escaping it. And that is what we're in for.
Yeah.
And that is why we need to show up on January 19th in Richmond. So,
And every day after that, I mean, not in Richmond, but we need to keep our voices out there every day after that. And even if the next election and we get somebody we do like that's very pro 2A, we need to be working even harder to be proactive and work against whatever could come in the future. A lot of people don't realize that those years under Youngkin, I mean, we had perfect opportunity to organize and become the proactive force that, because the left and antis, they are constant. They are constantly on the go. They are constantly organizing. They are constantly preparing for the next fight. They are never complacent whatsoever. So I mean, that this should be a big lesson, if anything. And I hate it. I hate it so much because I fell into some of that complacency too. But at the same time, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, like what Philip was talking about a little bit ago with people moving. I mean, I'm stubborn. I'm going to go down with the ship. I'm that petty. So I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to be a mosquito constantly.
Yep.
So
So, Kay Wordy says in 2021 we had an amazing presence on Reddit. We did, and we had an amazing social media guy, Ed Levine, and sadly he passed away. And that was his 100%. His job was he was on Reddit, he was on MeWe, he was on
all the
Instagram,
things.
he was all the things. And so we just don't have the bandwidth to make those presences. So we're relying on you guys to share our posts. You can see what we put on Facebook and YouTube and the VA alerts. Take those things and share them. Every single VA alert, there is a link on our website to the entire VA alert. You can post that on Reddit. You can post it on the other social media sites and help us out. How many people shared this broadcast tonight, shared the link to the live stream? We need more people helping us get the word out. That's what grassroots is.
Yes.
Exactly. Why don't we let Christy talk a little bit about teams and stuff, so she's got time to do that.
Good evening, everybody. We've had a great response for volunteers, for team leaders for this year, for folks who are volunteering for additional things. So if you feel like you want to volunteer, but maybe you're not really a speaker, you're not really a people person, you're more of an administrative. You're really good at organizing things. You're really good at being administratively talented. I can use help in the conference room, organizing everything. We organize the packets, the equipment, and we help the team leaders. Sometimes we've got errand runners because we'll get a call from a legislator that says, "Hey, I don't have my packet yet, and I'm going into committee. I need your packet," and so we'll run some extra copies of the packet up to them. And we also get, requests throughout the day for, folks to answer questions, or can you bring us some more stickers? We had a legislative aide ask us to bring them stickers 1 year. So, I mean, there's different ways to volunteer. I also need people to help. I call it being a traffic cop, but help as folks on the buses are arriving, help them connect with their teams, because a lot of the team leaders may already be in the building for appointments that start at 8, 8:15, 8:30. And so we help people find and get connected with their team wherever they are at that moment. And so there's a lot of ways to volunteer. Now, for those who have signed up to be team leaders, we've got a lot of new team leaders this year, which is really exciting. And what's really awesome is that our experienced team leaders are also volunteering. So we have a situation where you can volunteer and you can work with, mentor, be mentored by, or shadow an experienced team leader, so that you can learn to do it really well. You can grow your confidence for next year, and you'll have somebody with you who has done this before. So that's something else that's really exciting this year. We're trying to be a little bit more proactive about assembling teams and getting people in contact with the team leaders. So you will find a form on the website where you can tell us your name, how to reach you. So we'll ask you for a phone number, an email address, and tell us who your delegate and your senator are. And we will make sure that goes to the team leaders. And the team leaders who are going to be meeting with your delegate, the team leader who's going to be meeting with your senator, can reach out to you so you can connect with them. They might need your help in scheduling an appointment for a VCDL team. Some legislators or their staff will require a constituent to set the appointment and to be present at the meeting in order to meet with VCDL. So you're the team leader who's assigned to your legislator. They might need your help scheduling an appointment. That's another way that you can sign up and volunteer and help us out right now. I mean, we don't have to wait until next Monday. You can start helping us out right now. You can get connected with the team leaders who are going to be meeting with your legislator. You can start learning some names. You can strategize a little bit about who's going to talk about which bills or which talking points, and you can maybe fill them in. You can make sure the team leader is informed about your legislator and what might be the best way to reach them, to help them understand the harm in what they might be trying to do, or to help encourage them to do the good things they're already doing. And I'm trying to think, are there any other questions that I can answer for folks about forming teams or what happens on lobby day? I know I'm still working with the team leaders on these things specifically, since we have so many new team leaders. But members, it's important for members to know how to participate as well.
Okay, and people can post questions in the chat if they would like you to answer them. I will say, looking at the chat, we have somebody saying we will not comply, and indeed that is an option. As somebody else pointed out, well, you might also pay $20,000 in legal fees if you get arrested for not complying. But not, basically, peaceful civil disobedience is always an option in America, but you have to be prepared for the price. The other thing that's important, and we need to spread this around, is jury nullification. Jury nullification. I've got a video that I'll probably put out on this that gives you an idea about jury nullification. But this goes back to the founding of the country, basically. And the interesting thing is, if your lawyer tells you about jury nullification, they can they can be disbarred for doing that. That's absolutely insane. What jury nullification is if you think as a juror that the person is being treated unconstitutionally, unfairly, unjustly, then you can vote not. As a jury member, you can say I vote to acquit, or I don't, I'm not voting. I vote to acquit. I guess is the proper way of saying it. The judges don't like this. They don't want to tell you about it. The attorneys can't tell you about it, but it's absolutely legal, and it's absolutely a tool that you have. And this is a protective thing. You've got more authority when you're a juror than the judge has on this, because you can you can basically say, no, I am not, I am voting to acquit. This is unjust. That was clearly a case of self-defense when he used that gun. It's clear it was. There's no authority for this. Or he had an AR-15 after July 1 of 2026. Well, the Constitution protects exactly that kind of gun. I'm not going to take a citizen who wasn't doing anything illegal other than possessing this gun with an arbitrary date after which you can't have it. No, I'm not. I'm going to vote to acquit. That's very powerful. That allows gun owners to protect other gun owners if you end up in court. All it takes is one person to stand up, and then they either have to retry or throw in the towel and then let the person go. So keep that in mind. If you're a juror, you have a lot of power there. It would just be with guns, but anything where you feel that this is unjust. Well, Pat, you're muffled. Pat, you can't hear you.
Do-do-do.
You're coming up now.
Okay,
There you
sorry.
go.
I don't know how I got muted, but anyway, the other thing about people saying will not comply, the assault, quote unquote, you have to use air quotes when you say assault rifle or assault weapon bill, says, yeah, it's a class one misdemeanor. However, it can, being convicted of it can cause you to lose your concealed handgun permit for 5 years
I think it was
and
5. It was either 3 or 5.
lose your ability to buy a gun for 3 years. So, yeah, it's a misdemeanor, but you still lose your rights. And um, who wants to be the test case? That's the
Yeah,
problem.
and the truth is too, some things you're stuck with complying unless
Mm-hmm.
you go to the black market, because things, for example, that a dealer has to do, the
Mm-hmm.
government's watching them. They have no choice. They've got, if they cannot sell you a firearm without seeing a valid permit to purchase,
Mm-hmm.
if they go around it, the government will find out and they will lose their business. They will be put in jail and so forth. This again, I kind of have to put this back where it was with COVID. The police weren't going around in COVID and checking to see if you had your stupid little mask on when you were in a store. They didn't do that. You were supposed to have a mask on, but the police weren't looking for that. All they did was they put the onus on the business. They told each business, okay, if you have customers in here that are not masked up, we're going to pull your business license. You can kiss your job goodbye and your business goodbye. So they made these retail stores the bad guys. They had to enforce this law, and the police and the government didn't. They simply became the person stuck in the middle. Maybe the same thing with gun dealers here. They're stuck in the middle in that case, having to enforce that law. They don't have a choice, because the government will definitely come after them. They have no incentive. They've got families and everything else to protect. Now you could ignore things like if they passed back to universal background checks, and somehow that were to rear its ugly head again. Well, you could say, forget it. I'm going to sell to my neighbor, and tough luck. That's an option. That you're breaking the law there, but you don't have somebody else stuck in the middle. The neighbor might
And
not want to get involved.
if I remember correctly, with that permit to purchase bill and possibly the assault weapons bill, um, it was a misdemeanor for individuals, but a felony for an FFL that did not comply, that broke the law. So, um, yeah, they put a much stricter penalty on the businesses, and
They want to
that
get rid of
again,
them.
they are trying to litigate the firearm industry and anything related to the firearm industry out of business. If they can't outlaw the guns, they will choke off your supply and make it absolutely too expensive. Um, Mikey Giggs says, "How do we get in touch with you, Christy? If there's questions after the live stream, there is is it the Lobby Day Team at VCDL.org is the email, and you can also use the contact form on our website. Either one." Christy, I think, are you muted?
I'm not
No.
muted. Yeah,
Okay.
I also have a Proton Mail email address that I use exclusively for Lobby Day coordination, and that is all one word, all lowercase, VCDL Lobby Day at PM, that stands for Proton Mail, PM.me. So VCDL Lobby Day, all one word, no punctuation, no hyphens, no nothing, just VCDL Lobby Day at PM.me. That's how you can reach me directly.
There was a question about Utah out of non-resident permits being honored in Virginia. Could that be at risk? Yes. We won't. Again, it will be up to the Attorney General to say, does Utah's laws match up nicely with Virginia laws? And they're handing him a blank check, basically. It's like, if you don't see something in there, then you don't do anything. So it's really a farce. In fact, that whole power got taken away from the attorney general when Herring tried to pull that what he tried to pull when he did. We basically said, no, we're going to honor all permits. We're not going to have attorney generals picking and choosing at will, especially if they're for gun control. We got rid of that. Now they want to put it back, and we know why. Not that we need it. We've had no problems. Like suppressors. I can only think of one case in Virginia, and there may be some a long time ago I didn't hear about. I can only think of one case in Virginia where a legally owned suppressor was used in a crime, a legally owned suppressor. Lots of illegal things, but we're talking legally owned, and that was that shooting in Virginia Beach in a gun-free zone in a Virginia Beach government center.
Mm-hmm.
That was an
Allegedly, by the way.
employee. I'm sorry?
Yes. Allegedly, by the way. They never actually said what firearm or suppressor or anything like that.
That's a good point. And people, if he did have one, people admitted to hearing the shots. Like we said, it doesn't make it silent. Mm-hmm. It just lowers it from a jet engine taking off to a jackhammer.
Didn't like all of the people that were in that building that got out of it said that the reason why they wish that they had brought their they wish that they could have brought their firearms. Yep. They all had like concealed carry permits, but they couldn't carry them into the building.
One of the women that was shot and killed had talked to her husband and said, I want to carry my gun to work because this guy scares me. I think he's going to do something stupid. And she didn't take it because the county policy was against it and she could lose her job. So she did not take her gun to work, and instead of losing her job, she lost her life.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, so she was a good little employee, but very dead. Yes. Salvador Rodriguez is saying he had a concealed carry permit for 10 years, and then suddenly when he renewed, they found some misdemeanor that happened back in 2010. What can I do? Salvador, send me an email and I'll put you in touch with our attorneys. They do this stuff. They do this stuff for breakfast. Just president at VCDL.org. President at VCDL.org. Send your information and I'll put you in touch with one of our attorneys.
And Dave's Guns says that being able to sue the firearms businesses, it's not just FFLs, it's any business that sells anything to do with firearms, being able to sue them civilly for selling accessories and stuff is going to drive the prices of insurance, which is already exorbitant. You could buy a house with what gun stores pay for insurance every year. And it's going to put a lot of companies out of business because they just won't be able to. Yeah. Another bill that they introduced previously, and we expect to see again, would ban home FFLs within 1.5 miles of any elementary or middle school. And it doesn't specify public or private. And that will put 90% of the home-based FFLs out of business, even when they only go to gun shows. They don't even have people coming to their home. It's just ludicrous, the things that they're doing.
Yep, and it's all part of the plan. And we just cannot let them do this. We cannot let them do this. The future generations are depending on us. We cannot. We've got to stand up, and we cannot let, whether it's litigation, whatever, we cannot let them do this.
So what do we do about it, Philip? What's the plan?
Well, the easiest thing is, or the most efficient thing is if we can get the General Assembly not to do this stuff. That's the easiest. They don't do it, then we're done. If not, then we'd have to do things like going to court. That's time consuming. It's very expensive. It's $40,000 to walk in the door each time we do this. And GOA has split that with us. They've been wonderful in all of this. So we've got that as an option.
Short-term plan, show up for lobby day.
Yeah.
Drag your friends, your family, your neighbors, your cousin that you never talk to except on Christmas. Bring everybody that you can get to lobby day. We need massive numbers. We need bigger than 2020. Next, watch the VA alerts, because whenever there's a committee meeting, we need people to testify, whether they show up in person or testify virtually. We have been outnumbered for the last 3 or 4 years in committee meetings, and it is costing us. And I'm putting in the chat right now, I'm putting up a link that shows the committee meetings, the links to sign up to testify virtually. You can leave comments on the bills that are in committee. Those comments are posted publicly, they're public record, and they go to every single committee member. So you can comment for or against specific bills. We need to get with our local governments and ask them to protect us from overreach by the General Assembly. That means going to the Commonwealth's attorney and saying, I need you to commit to not enforcing these unconstitutional laws. Go to your local sheriff and say, will you refuse to arrest people that have violated these unconstitutional laws that the General Assembly is talking about passing? Go to your city council and board of supervisors and get them to strengthen, not just reaffirm, but strengthen their sanctuary agreements, their sanctuary resolutions.
Yeah, the Commonwealth Attorney is the one with the most power to say, I'm not prosecuting this. They've done that. They've done it. Democrat prosecutors have done that, saying, I'm too busy. I got so much going on. I can't be fooling around with this, whatever X was. And they can do the same thing with all this. They say, I'm not going after law-abiding citizens who bought a semi-automatic rifle after July 1 of 2026. I don't have time. I'm not doing it. They can do that. It's completely discretionary as to what a prosecutor can do. Sheriffs are a little bit more bound by the law. There's a little leeway in there that they can do, and of course, obviously, a police officer can always look the other way. But the Commonwealth attorneys have a lot of strength there if they want to do that. We've seen that even in Northern Virginia with the Democrat, again, Commonwealth attorneys deciding not to prosecute some things that most of us here would think they should prosecute, but they're not doing it. That's another tool in the toolbox, but that's up to your local prosecutor.
Yeah, so Wrenchhead is asking a training class on how to speak virtually in the committee meetings. And yes, I absolutely intend to do that once session starts, because right now the links aren't working. I have a page that I posted that explains briefly, but I will do a video with screenshots of me actually going through and signing up to testify in a meeting so that people can see how it's done. And, you know, for those of you that say, I don't know what to say, or I'm not very good at public speaking, you don't have to be. All you have to do is sign up. You need to have a camera, you need to have a microphone, and you sign up to speak virtually. And when it's your turn, all you have to say is, I agree with what VCDL said. I agree with what Philip Van Cleve said. I agree with what Pat Webb said. That's it. You don't have to make your own speech or anything like that unless you have something extra to add, because they will say, okay, the side for a bill has 10 minutes. The side against the bill has 10 minutes. And if there's 10 people that speak, each one gets a minute. They might only give 3 minutes, and there might be 15 people to speak. So you only have a few seconds to say what you need to say. If there's any key points you want to make, have it written down beforehand. And if somebody else says it in their testimony, cross it off your list so that you're not repeating the things other people have said.
Yeah, I see some more Senate bills have come in since I last checked on Friday, so I need to pour through those tonight and see if there's any gun control buried in those.
And
the bills
I
are
put
pouring in now. We're at hundreds of bills are in now. and they're going to
Yeah.
keep accelerating. Well, until we get literally thousands of bills. Now, that's not all gun bills, but there'll be thousands of bills, and we go through to make sure that we're trying to catch anything that deals with firearms as best we can.
And the legislative tracking tool is vcdl-lis.org. And there's actually links to the bills and links to the committees and so on and so forth in there. So that is a really valuable tool because it's everything all in one place. There's a summary of what the bill says, what we think about the bill, and links to the actual bill and so forth. So, Christy, do you have anything else that, like how to meet up with a team or anything like that?
The best way to meet up with a team is to fill out that form ahead of time so I can connect you with team leaders in advance. The other option is we will try to have somebody there to meet the buses when they arrive so that they can tell you where the teams that are seeing your legislators are going to begin so you can meet up with them. The other option, if the buses are late, which happens when we have bad weather or bad traffic incidents, I'm in the conference room in the lower level of the Commonwealth Hotel. I'm in the VCDL conference room, and I can help you get connected with them. They do check in with me throughout the day if their schedules are disrupted for some reason. Sometimes a legislator has to change the appointment time, or they run into the legislator in the hall and have their meeting, or so things happen, and so the schedules can change throughout the day, and so the team leaders will try to keep us apprised of where they are, and when they're meeting with each of the legislators, even as things are fluid throughout the day.
So, Jill, do you want to talk a little bit about the bus, the gun check bus?
So the gun check bus, Brandon Howard, who is Right to Bear Arms Virginia, he is overseeing that again. He is having an early bird special right now where if you are coming into lobby and you're going to be on Capitol grounds, you can actually go in on his website. I believe we have it posted on our site now for the VCDL. There it is right there. Pat just put it in the comments where you can actually just get it half off to check your gun. I would do that while I could if I were y'all. So we will be there as the buses come in. Well, Brandon and his team and his security team will be there as buses come in, checking guns and storing them for you if you want to go in lobby and onto Capitol grounds, especially during the rally, which starts at 11. And you can also see me and my little team with the Academy table, so y'all can come over and holler at us, have fun, get your picture taken with us because I got a new selfie stick, y'all. So it's a mechanical one, it's high tech. So, and I'll probably be interviewing some folks as they come in too, just getting like little snippets as why you're here, why are you joining us, and of course everybody's going to be there for the protecting and preserving the Second Amendment and here in Virginia, but sometimes sharing your why also helps, and that would help us too as far as an organization, a grassroots organization too. So please consider coming and hollering at me when y'all come on. I hope everybody bring a friend, come and let's make this a community that we say we are, at least, especially on socials. I want to see faces. I want to see people. I want to hug your necks. I want people to see how we come together, and I think that just it's gonna be a fun day. It's gonna be a cold and rainy day, from what I understand. So please dress warmly. But
So where is this bus?
oh, it's gonna be on, oh gracious, North 8th Street off of Grace. So we will
Yeah.
be like a block from the Capitol grounds, and you come and you check your gun, you come by and see me, get some little swag pieces and some information about the Academy and VCDL. Then you can just walk a block up to the bell tower and hear Mr. Philip Van Cleve, Miss Pat Webb, and all of the other speakers speak at 11 o'clock
Yep. So
p.m.
the bus will be on 8th Street between Franklin and Grace, which
Franklin and Grace.
is Yes, it's 1 block over, and it's not up a hill.
It's nice. Amen.
To some people, that makes a big difference.
Yes, it does. I knew it was I was about to say Jefferson and Grace, but I knew it was I
Yeah,
knew it was a president.
yeah,
Somebody from Virginia, but I was like, oh, we're
yeah.
just going
F and
north.
G.
Yeah.
They're alphabetical, believe it or not. Somebody actually planned that out.
Yes, I don't memorize maps. I could just tell you around the
Right.
corner. We're gonna be around the corner.
Yes. And Bank Street doesn't follow the rule, but
Yeah.
just another block down on 9th Street, the entrance to the conference room that Christy was talking about is on 9th Street, just below Bank Street. And there is a little half set of steps that goes down to some double doors. And you go through those double doors, and that's where the conference room is. That's the command center, if you will. That's where Christy does all of her magic and keeps all of the teams organized. We have two-way radios. If somebody has an issue or a question, they radio her. If you need to help finding a team or finding who your representative is because you didn't look it up beforehand, then Christy can help you with that. So good things to know. And then if you are down at Bank Street, you can go into the Capitol lower level entrance and go through the tunnels up to the General Assembly building. But that's a lot of walking that way. So, and the buses, if you're on a bus, the buses will be letting people off and boarding to go back home, and that same place on 8th Street between Grace and Franklin. So, Philip, do you have anything else to add? Are there any urgent bills that have come in that you saw?
The couple bills came in. I'm looking at them from the Senate side, but these are Senate versions of House bills we've already seen. So,
okay.
I'm surprised these came. These must have come in late Friday night or Saturday. I'm not sure, but this week it's really going to pick up. So we'll be monitoring multiple times a day. But you can expect this is a time where you need to brace up for a lot of alerts because you'll be looking for two types. One will be the usual VCDL update, or maybe a VCDL alert, something not dealing with the legislatures you need to know about. An urgent alert might be something going on at the locality, but you'll be seeing a lot of VCDL legislative updates. Watch for those. Those may have, and I'll often put the word action item. That means we've got bills that are on the move. We need you to click and send a message. We give you the stuff. We sort of make it easy for you. You know, the messages are usually pre-written for you. It knows who your delegate and senator are, and it sends it off. You just basically you can modify the message. You can, and it's great if you can personalize a message. You don't have to use our wording at all, but if you can personalize it, that carries more weight. If you can say, well, this is how this affects me personally, and put that out there, that's often quite useful. But push come to shove, you're in a hurry, you don't have time for that, or you're not comfortable with that, then you can just forward on what we have. But it's easy. I mean, it takes no time at all to do this. Very, very, very quick. We try to make it easy on you because we know people are busy, have a lot of things going on, but we want you to participate.
Yeah, and so there's a couple ways you can forward your emails. First off, if you're not getting the VA alerts, go to vcdl.org/VA-alert and sign up. If you forward the email, make sure you strip the unsubscribe link from the bottom so that whoever you forward it to doesn't unsubscribe you, because that link goes to the first person it was sent to. The other way you can do it is go to our website and actually send the link to the alert. You open the alert, copy the URL from the top, and then send that link to people, and they will get the exact same thing without the unsubscribe link on it. Rod, thank you for reminding me. Lobby Day dinner, Sunday before Lobby Day, so that would be the 18th. You can send in your RSVP online at vcdl.org/Lobby Day dinner. Try to keep it easy to remember, but I will put it in the chat as well. That dinner this year will be at the Golden Corral on the West End on Broad Street at Gaskins Road. What else have we missed, if anything?
Nothing I can think of, but I'll think of something as
Okay.
soon as we're done.
Yes, that's always the way. That's like when you hit the send button and like,
Yep.
oh, I forgot to put the attachment on.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It never happens.
All right. So I think I got all the links, but there's a ton of Lobby Day pages on our website. Some are under events at the header. Some are under politics. The sign up link to connect with the team is right on the home page. If you scroll down below the big picture, there's a red, white, and blue box, and it's right in the middle. I think it's in the red box. So let's see what else.
Pray and Pray 11 has got something he wants to know about a flyer he's putting together on the AWB.
Yes, send that to president@vcdl.org. And I think he sent one last year that we put in the legislative packets.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the other thing. As soon as the legislative packets are done, which won't be until right before Lobby Day because we try to get every last bill in there, I will put them up on the website as well. There will be a link. But right now, there is our legislative wish list. There were so many bad bills, I split it into two different pages. I have the dangerous legislation, and then I have our legislative agenda, some of which has already been introduced, some of which is longer term. The dangerous bills are all bills that either have been introduced and they include the link, or they have been in recent years they have been introduced. Most of them were in the last couple of years, and Youngkin vetoed them. So I think that's everything, and we are at 9:20, so we've gone almost an hour and a half, and time has really flown by. So I want to thank everybody who took time out of their Sunday evening and joined us tonight. I hope you guys will do all the things, click the buttons, do the thumbs up, share these videos, share the recordings with your friends. You can find on YouTube, you go to the live button, go to the VCDL page on YouTube, VCDL channel, and then at the top they have the little tabs, click on lives, and you will see it there. And you can share it with people that didn't get a chance to watch tonight, and they can maybe listen to it while they commute to work and make a commute a little bit better or worse, as the case may be. But we really need to motivate people, and it worries me greatly that we have not seen the interest that this session deserves. We are in grave danger here, and we need to take action now.
Yes.
So, unless you saw any more questions in the chat that need to get addressed, I think we will say goodnight. Thank you, Christy, for joining, and Jill. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Yeah, and if we missed anybody, just send the question to president@vcdl.org or treasurer@vcdl.org if you want to reach Pat.
Yep. And by the way, what was I going to say?
I knew you wouldn't have to say it.
Yeah, it just came and went that quick.
Yeah, well, join the club.
It's been a week. It's been a month.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So we will see you all on Lobby Day, and watch those emails, and thank you all for your activism and your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye, guys.
Night. See y'all at Lobby Day.
Mm-hmm.